don't think yours is long enough to do the whole thing.
Mine?
Yeah.
This is news to me.
Got the hair for it, but I don't think it's my style.
No, foil actually. We've digressed right out of the gate.
Oh, yeah. I'll get it in our system soon. All right, it is 6:30, and the Somersworth Planning Board meeting for September of 2025 will come to order. Anna, could you please call the roll?
Jason Berry.
Here.
Jeremy Rhodes.
Here.
Chris Horton.
Here.
David Witham.
Here.
Mark Richardson.
Here.
William Barden.
Here.
John Splain.
Thank you. First order of business is approval of the minutes from the August 20th, 2025 meeting. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve the minutes.
Motion made by Mr. Horton,
Second.
second by Mr. Whittam. All those in favor? Any opposed? Abstentions? All right. Next up is committee reports. Land use minutes are in your packets as usual. Mr. Whittam, council report.
Yes, thank you. Several months ago now, the mayor and I introduced legislation to change the zoning ordinance with regard to the historic district, with regard to what I'll describe as infill development, where it would not be subject to HDC approval, however, HDC recommendations, so to soften the HDC impact of developers that are looking to infill within the historic district. That found its way through council committee. The ordinance was not recommended for passage. At our meeting this past Monday night, it was amended rather significantly. And really the only piece of that legislation that will remain is that the historic district will be outlined with a map as amended versus lot lines and boundaries as it's currently articulated in the ordinance. Where the mayor thought that was a substantial enough change, it will be subject to another public hearing, but it's winding its way through. But for all intensive purposes, the portion related to no HDC oversight of infill has failed, so that still will apply.
All right.
End of report, sorry.
SRPC?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I've got two pitches tonight. First off, there is an opening on the Regional Planning Commission for another Somersworth member, and Michael Babinski, our Public Works Director, and myself are on the commission. We have a third member, but right now that position is vacant. So if anybody is interested and you want information about it, I just talked to Michelle, and you can contact the planning office and get my email and phone number, and give me a call or send me an email, and I'd be happy to talk with anyone out there who might be interested and give you the information and what expectations are and that kind of thing. The other thing is, for those of you who recently received your water bill, you saw this flyer in there, and if you've already tossed it in your recycle bin, please take it out. It is a Regional Planning Commission survey looking for your input on this city's master plan. Took me maybe 20 minutes to fill it out. That's because I answered a lot of questions in writing, not just clicking the box. And that's an option that you have all the way through it. When you get to the end, it's a little bit confusing, but just remember there is a place to check off number 28, and then there's the picture of 28 below it. Same with 29, 30, and 31. It's two spaces, look at the picture below, and then go back up and click the box that you are interested in. So that was a little bit confusing, but I figured it out in short order. And it's worthwhile to do because it's your voice that needs to be heard when the city makes its master plan for the future. That'll be it, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you. 2030?
No report, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Housing?
No report.
Uh,
No report.
I can just give a report. The committee continues to meet. No actionable items at this point.
Thank you. Any other committee reports that I may have missed? Before we get into old or new business, I should note Mr. Barden and Mr. Splain, as we've got a couple of absences, you are both full voting members for this evening. Thank you. All right. Old business. Any old business to come before the board? Thank you. All right, moving on to new business. Item A, 100 Tri-City Road, seeking a site plan amendment for revisions to a parking lot on a property located at 100 Tri-City Road. Ms. Mears.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. This site plan received site plan approval back in 2019 to convert the existing building to 20 commercial rental units for business uses. The applicant received a waiver from on-site parking requirements to allow for 60 spaces where 227 were required, and from the requirement to provide internal landscape islands. The applicant is now requesting to amend the approved plan with the following amendments: to allow 9 spaces for trailer storage, 36 parking spaces for fleet vehicle storage, and also to allow 10 Connex boxes located on-site for as long as the property is used as a currently approved for use office and professional service facility. The applicant is proposing to add 2 new landscaped islands with 24 trees as a buffer. This did receive comments from Site Review Technical Committee meeting at the September 3rd meeting, and this is ready for the board to review.
Thank you. Do we have a motion for application acceptance?
Move that we consider the application complete for review.
Seconded.
Okay, motion by Mr. Whittam, seconded by Mr. Barry. All those in favor? Any opposed? All right. Application is accepted. I'll invite the representative to speak.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to present tonight. My name is Chris Rice with TF Moran. I'm here on behalf of the owner and the applicant, 100 Tri-City Road, LLC. And with me this evening is James Scully, who's legal counsel for the applicant. As Michelle mentioned, we're here to present a proposed site plan amendment to the previously approved plan. This is just a color up of the existing conditions of the property. This is the existing building kind of in the brown color there. I think it used to be a Verizon building way back. In 2019, we got a site plan approval to convert it into 20 commercial tenants. And at the time, as Michelle mentioned, we got a parking waiver to base the parking on the number of units times 2 spaces per unit, plus some parking for some customers and visitors. So if you went by the 201 space per 250 square feet, that's where the 277 parking spaces comes up. So in any case, that's what exists out there today. As was mentioned, what we're proposing to do is what's shown in color here. So this area in yellow is where we have 9 proposed trailer spaces, which are really intended for landscape size. I call them landscape trailers, but they're not the tractor trailer boxes, just landscape trailers. And I do have a couple photos.
Your microphone.
Oh, sorry about that. Just to give you an idea, I did provide a picture. This, I don't know how well this came out. I do have some handouts, but that's kind of the type of trailers that's actually from the site. There's one here that's what I refer to as a landscape trailer, and then this is kind of like, I refer to as like an enclosed snowmobile trailer, essentially. So that is proposed in this location here in yellow. Over here in blue is where we're proposing those 10 Connex storage boxes, which are the small, essentially shipping container type boxes for storage for tenants. And then here in the kind of brownish color is where we're proposing the fleet vehicle storage. This is all on existing pavement. There's no new impervious coverage. It's all just existing pavement. We're just proposing to stripe it. And down here in pink is just replacement of some of the parking spaces that were up here. We're just putting down here in order to push the trailer parking storage as far back on the site as we can. As part of the project, we have proposed 2 islands. One is right here in this location. That's 10 feet wide. And this contains 19 western green giant arborvitae trees. And then this island here is 8 feet wide and contains 5 mission arborvitae. So this should screen everything from view from Tri-City Road. The only view corridor you might have is right here just at the entryway. Everything else should be pretty well shielded. The staff memo did point out that they would like some additional trees in this location back here, which the owner is amenable to providing 5 or 6 trees. I did go out there and take some photos. It is pretty robust and thick back there. This is looking to the east. This is standing from the trailer storage looking towards Tri-City Road. That tree there is the island that sits right here. So it's well beyond that point. If I'm scrolling too fast, just let me know. This is a view looking from where the Connex boxes would be to the residences to the north. And this is really the only gap that I saw. And I went to the other side and did take a picture. This is their maintenance building, and this is the closest residential corner of the building. This is the only area that's really visible. This is their dumpster pad location here, and everything else is pretty well vegetated, and there's an existing fence that stops roughly in this location, which on the plan is approximately here. And so we're willing to add 5 or 6 additional arborvitae trees to kind of close off that little gap that you can see. The proposed, the closest point of the Connex boxes to the roadway, just so that you know, is about 240 feet from here to here, and this is 370 feet from there to there. As I mentioned, there's no new impervious surface. We're actually reducing it slightly for the installation of the islands. It's about 1,500 square feet. And we do have one waiver request as part of the application, which is to allow the outdoor storage for a period of longer than 1 year, just so we don't have to come back year after year. And we're just requesting that run with the property as long as the building remains as the same use that it currently is. If anything changes, they would have to come back at that time to the planning board. And that's really it in a nutshell. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have. Or
We'll likely have some questions in a few moments.
Are we good to put this back up?
You
We
want
have a plan set here, so.
Okay. Do I just turn this off, or you just pull up?
No, you can turn it off, I think, twice. Thank you.
All right, we'll go ahead and open the public hearing for this item. If any members of the public are here to comment on this, please feel free. Ms. Mears, any correspondence regarding this item?
Yes, we did receive some correspondence from Kevin Walker, who is with John Flatley Company. He said, "Hi, Anna. Please see attached. We'd like to have a line of green giants or arborvitaes planted in the area clouded in red. To the attachment, we have no other comments regarding the plan. We respectfully request that this be added to the plans, or that board make it a condition of approval." And the applicant has addressed that in his presentation tonight.
Thank you. We'll close the public hearing for this item and open it for questions or comments from the board. Mr. Whittam.
Yeah, just seeking a little bit of clarity here. The Connex boxes, do you know what size these are?
They're 10 by 20 approximately.
10
which
by
is roughly
20.
a parking stall space.
So I do know that you can get like Connex boxes that are bigger than that. So if the board is amenable to this plan, would you mind a condition of approval that limits the Connex box size to this size and nothing bigger?
No, sir, that would be fine. Thank you.
Is there, I think I drove by this past winter, and there was a sort of job-built salt storage. I believe it was concrete blocks with like a tent structure above it. Is that still there? Is that reflected in the plan? Because I don't ever recall having approved
I
that.
believe that's still there. I don't know if it was there at the time we did our as-built, so we could certainly add that if necessary. I don't know if that's
Yeah,
going to be removed.
I believe that was constructed by a landscape tenant that was at our property, and from my understanding with communication with the city, that is not supposed to be there, and we're working with the landscape tenant to make sure that that no longer exists.
Very good. So, again, I think that's just an important note, and we'd probably want that as a condition of approval as well, that that structure, for, I don't know how else to describe it, be removed as part of the salt storage structure, be removed as well. It's not particularly attractive and would diminish from what you're trying to do here, I think.
And quick note, I believe you were introduced as the attorney for the applicant. If you could just introduce yourself for the record.
Yes, sir. My name is James, and my last name is Scully, S-C-U-L-L-Y.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
And my last question, this is not a secured site, so there's no like fencing. I suppose there's some yard lighting that's out here. We're not proposing anything different. It's just the uses on what exists right now.
Correct.
Got it. And in the island with the arborvitaes, those would be granite curbed?
I believe we have, yes, they would match the curbing that's out in the front, which is granite as well.
Got it. Thank you.
Mr. Richardson?
Yes, I noted in there that there was a comment, and I forget whether it was in the SRTC part of this or elsewhere, but about the conic trailers being placketed for any hazardous waste or any hazardous materials. Does that placketing apply to the other trailers too, just in case?
I don't believe so, because I think they're all open, well, I believe they're open storage except for some of the enclosed containers, but there's no intent to store
Yeah.
hazardous materials in either the Connex boxes or the trailer storage.
That's correct. The only way that this would become an issue is if we have a tenant that goes in and uses one of the Conex boxes and determines that they're going to store fuel or something to that extent. And as part of the certificate of occupancy permitting process, they would have to disclose what materials they would put in there, and then we'd display a sign.
Yeah. I just was curious of whether, I hear what you're saying, that it's not intended to be in there, but sometimes people have storage and they take advantage of it and just throw stuff in there. And so that's why I was asking about the other trailers as well. And just from my own point of view, I would hope that in any case, if anybody puts in there, that they would have it placarded correctly. So for fire reasons or whatever the case might be, people know what hazard they're running into.
Of course.
Okay.
And that was
thank you.
discussed at SRTC, and I believe the representative from the fire department mentioned that they're going to do an inspection and sign off on the CO, and I think that they have the rights to just show up and check it as needed, so.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Berry?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, so I like your proposal. I think all of your striping makes sense. Your island, the way you want to landscape it makes sense. All of it makes sense. I'm all for it, but the only thing I can't wrap my head around is the Connex. I can't understand that 2 months in a row, maybe 3 months in a row, we've had applicants come in asking about storage containers, and we rejected both of them. So I need to understand, why are these here? And what is the purpose of them when you have a perfectly good building right there? So can you address that, please?
I can certainly address it to an extent. Certain tenants have come to us and required some sort of storage in addition to their space that they have. As an example, we have a tenant who does wood shop and wood making materials and makes crafts. And the space that he has doesn't allow for him to store as much of the wood and the materials that he needs. And so he's requested that he have a Connex box for materials like that. And we have other tenants with similar situated businesses where that would occur. So the main reason that we're requesting these is to make it easier for the tenants, because the spaces are small, frankly, and the unique style of businesses that are in these locations generally require some sort of additional storage.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate that description. To me, it feels hypocritical to deny an applicant a request less than 6 months ago, 2 applicants. I don't know how I feel about it. I'd like to have the board discuss this in more detail. I'm on the fence regarding that, but.
And just for further information, just so you know, the main building itself is about 56,000 square feet. There's 20 tenants in there, so if they're all even, that tells you roughly how much space you've got. There are some with some larger units, but most, I think, are in the 2,000, 2,500 square foot range.
Okay.
And so it's not a lot of space to keep everything.
Is it your intention to fill all of these spaces immediately, or are you going to bring them in as needed by tenant?
For the Connex boxes?
Yes.
Do you have 10 that are looking for space already?
Sir, admittedly, I don't have an answer to that.
Yeah, so I guess the question is it the intention to put however many you got there, 10 of them? Yeah, you got 10 of them listed. Do you want to bring in 10 of these things today if you're approved, or are you going to bring them in if the tenant requires it?
What I would say, and frankly, I don't know definitively what the answer is, but I would be hard-pressed to believe that my client, upon potential approval, would be moving 10 Connex boxes over there.
Okay, so this is just permission, should it be needed by a tenant to bring it in? Okay. Okay, thank you. That's helpful.
Mr. Horton?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think I'll first start off by saying I think you've provided a well-thought-out screening plan for what you're proposing. I like the restriping of some of the open area. I think, I guess a couple things is maybe you could kind of talk to the occupancy of your facility, because I think many of us were on this board when we first approved it, so just to get a feel for how things are going. And also, I think this board as a whole is supportive of small businesses and communities in the community. And, as these small businesses grow, I can see them needing some outdoor cold storage. So Maybe if you could kind of just talk to your occupancy, and are you seeing any parking issues right now as it stands with your current occupants? And kind of answer some of those things.
18, I thought it was 18.
Yeah,
tenants.
I believe there are currently 18 tenants. Don't quote me on that, but I know we're somewhere around there. I know parking has not been an issue.
Good.
Frankly, one of the deterrents for tenant usage has been the fact that we couldn't store fleet vehicles overnight. And so that's been a deterrent because like I mentioned earlier, we have roughly 2,500 square feet a unit. And we have businesses like Stanley Steamer who people come, they pick up their vans and they go do their work. And we're trying to promote that type of activity continued within Somersworth and elsewhere because those tenants, provide good services to the community. So frankly, that's been a little bit of a deterrent, which is part of the reason we're back here this evening.
Yeah, and I guess that's really my position is I think we should remain flexible to encourage new businesses to be able to expand and be flexible with some of those requirements that they need. I'll just kind of mention, I also like the recommendations the staff put forward in their memo, and I would be open to supporting those amendments and requirements. That's all I got, thanks.
Mr. Swain? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm screwing your ears. Mr. Barden.
First, I'd like to second Chris Horton's sentiments on this. Second, I'd like to follow up to Mr. Berry's concerns about the Connex boxes. I don't recall whether the grounds for denial of the similar storage requests from 6 months ago were due to sighting concerns from the road or perhaps in a butter. In this case, as far as I can tell, these Connex boxes would be obscured from the road by the proposed tree island in the parking lot as well. Is sighting your primary concern, or are there other concerns specifically with these boxes that you have?
No, it's our rules are very straightforward. It says we don't allow them, right? They're allowed up to a period of time unless extended by this board, right? I can tell you that the tractor dealership there at the end of, help me out with the road, West High, I believe, we rejected it flat out, right? It was visible from the street. We had Nissan not that long ago, which was hidden in the back, hidden. And remind me, did we reject that?
We did.
We did reject that too. So, look, I'm not opposed to storage containers. I'm not. I'm sure I'm not the only person that is opposed to storage containers. However, we have to be consistent, right? And if we're going to allow this, we need to go back to those applicants that we rejected and give them the option to come back and resubmit. That would be the right thing to do, would it not?
I'll speak on that as well. I'm opposed to the use of this sort of trailer as a more permanent storage solution. As Mr. Berry noted, our rules are quite clear. It's 1 year, and reading the ordinance that set it at 1 year, the intent of it was for it to be used as storage during construction or addition to a facility, not as a storage solution. If that were edited or changed at council, I would be bound by that, but my personal opinion and view on this is that use of these temporary portable storage facilities as a long-term solution is not something we should be welcoming in the community. It detracts from the appearance, it violates construction standards, it essentially drops a usually beaten up rusted metal container on a permanent lot, whether it's visible or not. It's not the direction that I would like this city to be going. I recognize it's a cost-effective, easy, quick solution, but cost-effective, easy, and quick solutions are often not visible or sightly ones. And the reason that we push in this city for an improvement on that is that we have seen too much of that in the past. I've seen too much of that in other locations, and unless we're mandated to by the board, I will not support use of this kind of temporary solution as a permanent fixture on any property. Mr. Whittam.
Thank you.
Oh, I actually had one more little comment. Regarding your offer to plant a buffer of trees between the proposed trailer storage and the northern abutter, I just wanted to commend you for the record on your consideration of the abutter. I think it would be a nice thing to do, but I don't think it should be a condition of approval.
And I'd also note, the remainder of the plan I have absolutely no concerns with. I see no reason not to allow parking of fleet vehicles. Those are not a temporary, or those are a temporary thing. I have no concerns with the screening that you're putting on the site. I think that's welcome and a good addition. It's just these steel boxes. Mr. Whittam.
Thank you. It's interesting, our vote with the car dealership, we had a very divided board, which is very unusual for us with regard to the Connex boxes, so we don't all sing from the same sheet of music with regard to this, which is unusual for this board because we're usually in pretty tight alignment. We did so respectfully, and I think that's a good thing. And I'm one who I think views these differently. If the applicant were here and wanted to put a row of 10 dumpsters here, they could do that with our approval, provided they were screened and on a hard surface and all of that. And I'm not sure that a Connex box looks a whole lot worse than a dumpster. So I've contemplated as a city councilor to initiate legislation that would allow these by right with some pretty tight regulations, treating them much like a dumpster in our community. I've not done that yet, but this might be impetus to do that because we seem to be seeing this more and more. And I would agree that we would want them in reasonable condition, I suppose. I don't know how we monitor that, but there's some value in storage away from a building. If they wanted to put up 10 sheds, I suppose they could do that with our approval. So this is a whole lot more robust, a little bit more bulletproof, if you will, from a security perspective. So I think there's they've sort of addressed it pretty well in my book, because the biggest thing that I'm hearing from board members is, we don't like the looks of the damn things. Well, if we're going to put up a row of arborvitaes and other things and kind of shield them from the road, then I think we're accomplishing that mission. That's one man's view, so I think I tend to support it. I did ask about the size. These look like they would fit in a parking stall, so they're not going to be terribly large. I'm a little bit more reassured, too, that, geez, we'll get these as needed, maybe up to 10. I think the other one that was denied by this board, and I wasn't at that meeting, but was for the tractor dealership. That was very open to the road. There was no way to screen that from the road. They're on a corner, and it was near impossible. So that's very different than the car dealership. So I think I'm fine with this here for the reasons stated.
Mr. Splain, then Mr. Berry, and Mr. Richardson.
I would think that since he said that it's not really needed right now to have the storage containers, I would suggest to have the space for future placement of those storage containers. And when you have the tenants that were required, you can apply to have like a temporary solution or to bring it temporary. So you can still have the space right now, and then in the future when the tenant will require one, you can apply to have it placed there as a solution,
Well, the space exists, just for clarity.
yes,
We're not
I-
adding any new pavement. This was going to be placed on existing.
It doesn't have to be placed 10 of those right now,
Right.
And we do currently have tenants that would like them.
You can
Not
apply
necessarily
to
10
have it.
right now, but we do have 10.
Mr. Berry?
Thank you again, Mr. Chair. Yeah, and I just want to go back and swing back around. So just so you guys understand, I'm not opposed to these sorts of containers. So for me, I'm trying to follow the rules, and at least that's what the rules are. Like Councilor Witham said, I would be willing to go back to the table and renegotiate this. Let's figure out what makes sense. I get it. I mean, you have businesses that are expanding, and this is a very easy way to give them the extra space that they need. I mean, another solution, and something I would be immediately amenable to, which I know you can't do anything about it, but would you ever consider putting in something more permanent? Putting in a pad with a roof, with a door, something about the size, hey, I can go and rent a rental space, a 10 by 10 or a 10 by 20, whatever. That could be a thing. So, hey, maybe as a tenant, hey, we have 10 rows of 10 by 20s, you can rent that too, part of your lease, whatever. It could be a future option, but I would love to see council take this back. I'd like to see the conversation happen, see what our appearance standard should be, especially if there's a fence. I would definitely be amenable if it was screened and treated as a dumpster, but that's just one board member's opinion.
Mr. Richardson?
Yeah, when I read about this in the first place, I thought about the same two that we had already before us, but I know what the containers are. I use them in my profession as well, and they are convenient, and they do work for their stated purpose. And I kept thinking, what would this be if it were set up as storage containers, like a storage facility, and just having a row of, a row with 10 doors on it for the 10 by 20. And for that, I think we'd be saying yes. There would be no problem with that. It's no different than any other storage facilities. And then I think that in reality, when you have these things lined up, that's really what they become, is just another storage facility. And I kind of like Mr. Witham's idea about, and I'm not suggesting it here necessarily, but for that future discussion, if it's somewhere it's screened with a fencing or whatever it is around it but that's not what we're looking at now. It's something we could say we want, but it's not not exactly what we're looking at right at the moment. So knowing what they look like when they are kind of stacked like that in a row, and it's not really a whole lot different than any other storage facility, plus you have the vegetation screening it. I voted no on the other two, but this one I'm kind of leaning towards a yes vote. So unless somebody convinces me otherwise, I'll be voting for it.
So just to clarify my position on this, it's not strictly the appearance of them. It's also the fact that dumpsters on a fenced-in pad are there because they are a necessary evil. We need a mobile structure that can be picked up, dumped by a trash truck, put back into place. When we're talking about storage, what Mr. Richardson mentioned is a more permanent, non-transient solution to that problem. If what you were talking about was putting in something similar to what you see at extra space storage places, rental facilities, I would have no problem with that because we have ordinances that address that. That is a permanent structure. It's not a transient drop a box and just leave it here for years sort of structure. It's a question of, do we want to encourage permanent placement and a long-term view, or do we want to hand wave off, just drop a box and call it a permanent structure? Because it's essentially what we're doing if we allow this. Mr. Whittam.
Yeah, not to belabor the point, but I would just say that with regard to our standards, we act on waivers with regularity here. Appearance standards is one. Whether or not to have curbing in certain areas on subdivision applications, we've altered, we've waived the requirement for sidewalks. So we handle each case in and of its own merit. Each site is unique. And I think the waiver process exists for that very reason, to allow for that flexibility. So I'm not terribly concerned about the fact that, oh, this isn't allowed by right, and we're looking to act on a waiver here. We do that regularly here at this board.
Mr. Horton.
Yeah, I think that's well said by Councilor Witham. That's really my position, is we generally take these as a case-by-case basis, and because this is in a commercial zone, it's well screened, we're supporting our small businesses' growth. I'll be supporting this plan as presented.
Mr. Richardson.
Just one more thing that I neglected to mention. I think by putting in the additional abrevieties on the adjacent property up here, I think that helps me with that decision as well, because it's further screening from that side, people not being able to necessarily see them, so.
comments or questions? All right. Thank you. Let's see. So we do have one request for a waiver on here.
Mr. Chairman, I'd move first that I do not believe the project has any opportunity for regional impact.
Thank you. Motion by Mr. Whittem for a lack of regional impact, seconded by Mr. Horton. All those in favor? Any opposed? All right. Motion carries.
If you're in line for another motion, it may generate discussion, but I move that the request of 100 Tri-City Road LLC to allow 10 storage boxes on site permanently, so long as the use of the building stays as the existing use for office or professional facilities, be approved. I'll put with the condition that the storage boxes be maintained. Basically, we don't want them rusting out, we don't want them falling over, so maintained in a serviceable condition, if the applicant is okay with that.
Absolutely. Thank you.
So, is that a second or a comment?
Second.
Second by Mr. Horton.
And a comment, I'm
Discussion.
sorry. I would add to that, that absolutely nothing be left outside. You know, that's a condition of it, because it's easy just to put things down and walk away.
Absolutely.
Any further discussion?
Discussion.
Mr. Horton?
I would just ask that we amend the motion to include that the storage boxes and trailers shall have contact information on the outside for the tenant that is associated with it.
I'm fine with that friendly amendment. So basically, the box is tied to a unit, so if the fire department were there for some strange reason, they would know who to contact. It wouldn't be this nebulous, well, who owns this? I think that makes a lot of sense.
Okay. Any further discussion? All right. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Ms. Mears, if you could go through any conditions associated?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a few conditions. Plan revisions, please list waivers on the plan set. Please include the following note. The trailer parking area does not include parking of the following unless a variance is granted. Parking and transfer of commercial vehicles larger than 2-axle trucks, vans, vehicles, or trailers exceeding 30 feet, vehicles or equipment weighing in excess of 18,000 pounds, gross weight intended. Please provide a note on the parking breakdown for trailer storage, fleet spaces, and regular spaces. Additional landscaping buffer of green giant arborvitaes in the rear perimeter area of the site to be screened. Proposed trailer storage area as presented by the abutter. And also, another revision is each storage box shall be no greater than 10 by 20 feet. And then all the other standard conditions as outlined in the memo.
Do you have a motion for the site plan amendment?
I'll take it, Mr. Chairman. I move that the request of 100 Tri-City Road for a site plan amendment for revisions to the parking lot on a property located at 100 Tri-City Road be approved with the conditions as outlined by the city planner this evening. And I applaud her for the brevity of the conditions. We've moved that needle significantly, so thank you.
Okay, motion by Mr. Whittem,
I'll second that.
second by Mr. Horton. Any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your time. Have a good night.
Next item, 4B, Inflection Point Investments LLC is seeking a subdivision plan amendment for revisions to the condominium portion and subdivision line on a property at 73 Noble Street in the residential single-family with historic overlay district.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a little bit of background. The planning board approved a 3-lot minor subdivision to convert an existing 3-unit into a condominium building back in July 2024. The applicant is now requesting to not move forward with converting the existing building into condominiums. The 3-unit structure will remain as is, and to modify the lot lines of the previously approved subdivision to allow the retaining wall to remain on map 13, Lot 11. The retaining wall is proposed to remain in place and not be relocated as it is under the previous application. The lots will remain compliant to all minimum lot size and frontage requirements with minimal changes to the boundaries. This is ready for the planning board to review.
Thank you, Ms. Mears. Do we have a motion to accept the application?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Horton, seconded by Mr. Horton. Any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? All right. Motion carries. I'll invite the applicants to present.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Kevin McEnany, representing the applicant, Inflection Point Investments. Tyler Allen, one of the members of the Inflection Point, is here. Should you have any questions of him? I think Michelle did a great job just explaining. It's pretty straightforward. The board, the plan that I have mounted on the board is what was previously approved. That doesn't. Yeah. This was what previously was approved, and there's a pretty substantial retaining wall that runs along that line there. And the idea was to move the line away from that retaining wall to give more room for additional parking, since it was going to be converted to condominiums. That conversion of condominiums with this application is going away. These are going to remain rental units. So with that, we've revised the line to include the retaining wall entirely on the lot that will contain the existing 3-unit building. So they will maintain that. There'll be no further interruption of that wall. Thank you. No further interruption of that wall. And all of the lots continue to be conforming with regard to size and frontage. 2 of the lots are on Emery Street, and 1 of them is on Noble at 73. Be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
All right, thank you very much. We'll open the public hearing for this item. Anyone's here to speak? Ms. Mears, any correspondence?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. We did receive some correspondence from Mike Cregan at 79 Mobile Street. Happy Monday, Anna. As discussed earlier today, I would like to comment on the above business before the board. I attended the meeting of July 17, 2024. In order to protect my property interest as an abutter, my health precludes my attendance at the meeting. The files attached are in here, pages 1 and 2, minutes of the planning board meeting at that date, pages 19 and 20, relevant portions toward the bottom of those pages, pages 3 and 4, copies of emails between myself and Tyler Allen, the applicant representing Inflection Point Investments LLC. I believe there were 1 or more email exchanges after this, but there were not preserved. Pages 5, current pictures of the junk taken September 12, 2025. If the original pictures I provided at the 7/17 meeting are still in the files, it will show nothing has changed. Although Mr. Allen has responded to my request, he has not taken action in accordance with his responses. In the interest of being good neighbors, page 20 of the meeting minutes, I am pleased to offer Mr. Allen yet another opportunity to fulfill the obligation to which he has committed. Thank you for your time. Mike Cregan.
Thank you, Ms. Mears. Any other items?
No.
All right, we'll close the public hearing and open it for questions from the board. Mr. Wood?
I need help here. We needed to move the wall for parking, but now we don't need to move the wall for parking. Are we going to have less parking impact with the new intended use of the property?
The requirement for the condo conversion had a minimum requirement for parking, as I recall. Is that correct, Michelle?
That's correct, and since then the state statute has changed and our regulations have changed.
I'm following now. Thank you. I'm good.
Any other discussion? I'll just note in response to the piece of correspondence received, I recall a conversation at the original approval for this where the applicant had said that they were going to deal with this mess. Clearly that hasn't been dealt with to this point. Strikes me as more of a code enforcement issue than a planning one, but I would hope that the applicant would clean this up, and if that wasn't taken care of in a timely manner, that code enforcement would be paying him a visit. Mr. Whittam.
Yeah, I'll just jump on your coattails there. I agree that the correspondence we received is really a code enforcement issue, property maintenance code. It certainly deserves a thorough look by property maintenance. There's a lot of, the front, a lot of trees were taken down, and there's still debris that needs to be cleaned up there. So it is a property that should be in the crosshairs of code enforcement for that action, but I don't think it impacts what we're looking at here tonight.
If there's no other discussion, Don't believe we have any waiver requests, and we don't have a regional impact piece here, so Ms. Mears, if you could go over any conditions that would be associated here.
Yes, so all the standard conditions apply. There are a few new ones. Conditions applicable during after construction. All new subdivision lots shall be required to have a foundation survey prior to the issuance of certificate of occupancy. If during construction the existing curb or roadways are damaged, the lot owner will be required to repair and replace in kind to the satisfaction of the Director of Public Works and Utilities. This lot is located within the Historic District. A certificate of appropriateness is required for any construction, exterior alterations, modification, repairs, relocation, or demolition as outlined in Chapter 19, Section 14, Historic District. That's it.
Thank you. And apologies, we do actually need a motion for regional impact.
Yeah, I was going to say, I just caught that as well, Mr. Chairman. So I'd move that the application before us does not have any potential for regional impact.
Moved by Mr. Whittam, seconded by Mr. Richardson, I believe was in first. All those in favor? Any opposed? All right, thank you. Carries. Do we have a motion for the subdivision request? Mr. Horton.
Yep. Move that the request of Inflection Point Investment LLC for an amendment to the 3-lot subdivision and revocation of the condominium conversion for property located at 73 Noble Street be approved with the conditions outlined in the director's memo.
So moved by Mr. Horton. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Berry. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor? Any opposed? All right, motion carries.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. All right, moving forward to item 4C. Wyatt Page is seeking a conceptual review for an auto convenience market on a property located at 369 Route 108 in the Commercial Industrial District, Assessors Map 48, Lot 21. Ms. Mears.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. The applicant is proposing to construct a 6-bay vehicle refueling station, which is an auto convenience market in our zoning, with a gas canopy in the front parking area of the existing Route 108 beverage store. The lot has an existing 11,000 square foot commercial building which has 3 units, the Route 108 beverage convenience store, billiards hall, and restaurant. This property is located in the Commercial Industrial District. Auto convenience markets are a permitted use in the district and subject to the following land use standards. The use shall be located a minimum of 200 feet from any residential property. The distance shall be measured from the building to building in straight line. All repairs and service work shall be performed within an enclosed building. Bay doors or vehicle entrances, exits, openings shall not face any residential zoning districts. And no used or discarded automotive parts or equipment may be located in any open area outside of enclosed building. The proposed location of the 6-bay vehicle refueling station and gas canopy as shown on the plans dated 8/25 will require a variance as shown. They're located within the 50-foot setback. Let's see. The applicant did present a conceptual review to the SRTC at the September 3rd meeting. The applicant has provided conceptual plans for discussion, is looking for any feedback from the board on the proposed location of the gas pumps and canopy. There is no action required by the board. This is just feedback at this time.
Thank you, Ms. Beers. Go ahead and invite the applicant to present.
So I was actually meaning to add before you dropped the screen down that I hadn't realized that it was actually intended for like a presentation. Everyone has their copy, and so it's just a copy of the plans. We don't actually need that. Anyhow, my name is Wyatt Page of Adder. Yeah, my name is Wyatt Page of Adder Engineering. I'm here representing my client Sam Patel, who is the owner of the property and the owner operator of Route 108 Convenience. I think Ms. Mears pretty adequately explained everything. We're looking to add a 6-bay gas fueling station with the associated canopy, and there were a handful of comments that came through from SRTC, namely to do with the gravel out back and the lane that goes around and how that needs to be brought up to town standards. There was mention of a dumpster pad and screening around the dumpsters, some other very minor site improvements. There was discussion of screening, vegetative screening along the front that, to my understanding, was proposed by a prior plan that I don't think I've received so far, but I don't recall if it was Anna or who it was had said that there was a copy of that somewhere.
might have been Dana, but.
Might have been, okay, in any case. But we got some base feedback from SRTC, but we also sought to come here as well. And yes, I am fully aware, just to, put the horses in front of the cart properly, that the big crux to what we are currently proposing is that the fueling station and the canopy would be located in the front yard setback. Just to give you some rationale as to why we are seeking this, currently there is no well-defined parking agreement at all between the three tenants. The vast majority of the time, everyone is sharing these parking spaces that are out front, that are paved and delineated already for the uses of whichever business they happen to be going to. In order to locate the gas canopy and everything else within like not in the setbacks, but outside of the setbacks in the the buildable area, it would need a pretty significant disturbance of the parking, which is currently to the liking of all the tenants. And I do understand we have to be able to prove hardship to the zoning board. In fact, if I recall, SRTC even encouraged us to maybe not bother going for zoning board of appeals, but we would still like to seek that anyway and are seeking feedback on the project as currently laid out. There was also, I believe the last thing that I forgot to mention was someone at SRTC had also expressed concern that the water line to the town, from the town service for the water may in fact conflict with the location, and we'll be obviously investigating that before we get much further into that part of it. But we're mostly here for the board's preliminary comments that they may have.
Thank you very much. Any questions or comments from board members? Mr. Richardson, then Mr. Whittam.
Yeah, thank you. Right away with the paving, that's going to improve the site. Going down Route 108 and you look over there and it's probably, I mean, I'm giving you my own opinion, that the overall view of it is pretty disappointing. Add some color to the building, that would make some improvement there. It's just kind of and part of it's the dirt parking. It's just kind of a bland view that I have when I'm driving through there. So I'd like to see, I think if you do some bushes or trees or whatever you want to put it, whatever you can put in there, I think that'll add a little bit to the overall appearance. But maybe just some color somewhere would spruce things up a little bit. Other than that, I understand about the water line, and I'm guessing that you would be looking for an alternative location then for the containers for the gasoline and all that down below. And
it's more so once we have to, our plan currently is to have this review, get any additional preliminary comments, dress it up nicely, bring it to the zoning board of adjustment. Pending their decision, we would either revise, relocate, and come back to you folks with, all of the comments that have already been presented that apply to just the site in general and the improvements, but then also relocating the pumps and canopy. Should we be able to actually get the variance from the zoning board of adjustment, then we would be carrying on with the current layout as proposed. And a large part of the reason that my client wanted it out there is the area is already paved, while it is currently not in use. There's not really much of a reason for it to be dug up. We can't really put parking in it, nor would we propose to put parking in it, although I understand, depending on the town and the reviewers, sometimes there's like discussion between a gas fueling bay and a parking space, but, and most crucially, that it would be visible without obstructing the visibility of the existing businesses, which is a large concern. So that, and I know, as Mr. Richardson had pointed out, unsightly as it may be to some, it is very important to the tenants that the existing businesses still be visible. The only other available location other than putting gas literally out behind it where the current gravel area is would greatly obstruct the existing businesses, excepting, of course, the convenience store, which is right in the front.
Other than that, I have no problem with this. I'd like to see what it's going to look like in the end, but other than that, I'm fine.
Mr. Whittam.
Thanks. No significant objection to this. I would agree with you that if you're going to have a fueling station on this site, that's in concert with the beverage store, that it needs to be in the front. You wouldn't want to drive through all of those traffic islands to the rear. That doesn't seem to make much sense. It's kind of a unique building, right? There's 3 tenants, and none of them face Route 108, except for the beverage store, sort of. All of their entrances are on the side of the building, so it's sort of an odd configuration, but I understand why it is, because it's a reuse of an existing building to the way that it is now. I would agree with Mr. Richardson. The building is kind of ho-hum, right? Doesn't jump out at you. I think there are possibilities for just simple improvements, improving of that loop road around it, screening of the dumpsters. But I think the site screams for some landscaping. I think landscape islands in the parking lot, landscaping in the front, along the building. I think that is something that could help this significantly. So I would just throw that out there as we look at this. So I was thinking about traffic flow in and out, and it's not a huge fueling station, so I think the entrance could work. We need to make sure it's striped properly and all of that, and lit properly if it's not already. But I do have a question about tractor-trailer units coming to deliver fuel and how they would circumnavigate the site. Is it the intent to drive around the building, or?
So, as someone who has had to design these before and did a not too dissimilar layout for a project like this in Berwick, we actually did have trailer trucks driving around the back of the building. That would come along with if we were to keep this layout, and well, either way, we're going to be improving the gravel around the back. It would be a little better laid out so that a truck could potentially come around and be able to refuel in that way.
I think if we got to that stage of formal plans, we'd want to see turning radiuses and things of that nature on your plan set.
Yeah, and I actually do have a question related to this, because this was a point of contention from the town of Berwick, which was a town side request and not a DOT side. And granted, yes, this is in Maine, but not New Hampshire. In that case, it was specifically requested by the town that we be able to accommodate for WB67 semi-trailer size trucks that would be coming to fuel, despite the fact that we didn't intend to offer diesel at the site. Since you're bringing up truck parking, does the town have any particular, and I don't know the Route 108 corridor that well. I'm not familiar with what kind of vehicles go on it. I'm not super familiar with the truck routes in the area. Do you have any insight on what sort of truck sizing that the board would be looking for?
I defer to city staff on that. I don't know.
I think we'd have to look into that a little bit more and get back to you.
That's perfectly fine. This is very early. I just figured I'd ask since it came up. But yeah.
My only and final comment, and again, overall this is positive. I think these are just some opportunities for improvement here. Is just to be mindful that, again, this is a State Route 108. It has been and perhaps continues to be in their plan for a complete streets upgrade throughout the whole Somersworth corridor. That calls for a widening of the road, sidewalks, and all of that. So your setback might be compromised even a little bit more. So it's just that would require communication with DOT as well. So.
Yeah, and that was something else I had meant to bring up as well. I definitely think that's something that we would look toward, and I don't know, or I don't recall if there were any resources already available without reaching out to DOT, at least for initial peak, but we're certainly willing to reach out to them either.
There were draft plans that have already been presented, so there's at least a concept that's out there. I don't know if the director has anything further.
Yeah, we can send you that.
That'd be awesome.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was going to talk to the Route 108 complete streets as well, so Councilor Wilden brought that up. It's kind of tough without some elevation renditions, but is a 6-bay service station basically 3 pumps, cars each side? Is that what we're looking at?
Yes, that is exactly.
Okay. I think you should really consider the customer flow of foot traffic. I don't know if you have intentions on revisiting the front of that building and providing maybe some main entry.
Yes, so this actually had come up at SRTC as well, and I'm just gonna point, does this thing work? Does it have to be turned on? Okay, hello, does this work? Oh, it does, look at that. So as currently proposed, there is actually an entrance here. It is currently blocked off internally. there is no indication on the outside that it is an active entrance. It can be cleared. There's a small ramp. If need be, there could be a small interior improvement to make it a good entrance. It even with some light touch-ups could become an ADA accessible entrance. But I believe it is the intent of the client, should we get permission to do our gas canopy out front, that we would in fact convert this entrance into the primary entrance for the convenience store and potentially even do away with the existing one, which is located right here under this little stub of roof on the building.
Thank you for that. Kind of keeping with the same thought, I think, a little curb appeal would go a long way here to dress up the whole front. I think would really go a long ways with some of the feedback that you've been hearing too, with a little bit of effort during the whole construction phase. I think the location of a fuel station where this is located is actually a great one, given the car dealerships all co-located in that area. So, I can, in addition to the volume of traffic specifically, so I can see it providing additional traffic to all the other businesses located within that same facility. So I think it's a good thought there. I was going to talk about the open parking area placement, but you kind of already provided reasons why that wouldn't be a good placement of it. I can agree with that. So I think those are my biggest things, is how this fits into the Route 108 improvements. I like the idea of looking at pedestrian traffic, curbside improvements, curb appeal improvements, and then I think traffic flow or commercial truck flow will be a key here too.
Yeah, and for what it's worth, again, I haven't done any vehicle tracking yet, but at least to my eye, especially since we can't and wouldn't propose any parking on the far side of the canopy facing Route 108, if we were able to go with this layout, and again, I know that is not something this board gets to pass judgment on, it would be very easy for us to go all the way around for larger trucks to be able to just get one circuitous motion in and out, nice and easy, which is actually something that's kind of rare when you see a gas station going in on an already existing development.
Mr. Barry, then Mr. Richardson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. All right, so a number of things. First things first, just my personal opinion, I'm not a fan of the location of the sign. I would say move that to the perimeter of your property.
We're happy to do that.
Yeah, I would suggest the southwest corner, right? You got some dirt or grass. I'm not sure if it's grass or dirt nowadays, but I would say put it right there at the entrance. Number two, the site is quite dark. I've been in that parking lot many times at night. It's dark. So please incorporate lighting into your plan. And that's not just for around the gas area. Do it for the whole parking lot, please, if you can.
Yeah, I believe that actually, that's a good reminder. I think that was mentioned at SRTC, but I don't think I had actually gotten that into my notes. So thank you. That's a good addition. Yeah.
Yeah, it's also a safety thing, especially, if you're in the back, some people they might feel unsafe going to the back where it's really dark. So, as far as flow, just remember, you need to have it be sized for a standard gas trailer, right?
Yeah.
So you got to figure that out.
So I do have that info, and it's a tricky question. It's my understanding, and I can have my client come up to speak on this, that assuming he uses the same company for delivery, their standard size is smaller than a WB67 trailer truck. However, in a lot of cases like this, I've seen at least 2 cases where they ask for the maximum truck size design, even if it's not a size that wants to be catered to. But thank you for the input.
Sure. I mean, it's definitely doable. I mean, the driver would have to be conscious of how they get into the site. I mean, they'd probably want to go on northbound on 108 and tuck right in along the property line. It's doable. Anyway, just food for thought. I also agree with Councilor Witham. I would strongly suggest put in some islands. If it can be done, try and put them in. Throw some landscaping in there. It'll look nice. It'll add some real nice curb appeal to your. Pop. I like that word. So you're going to be repaving. That's your plan, to repave the whole site, or are you going to keep it as is?
I believe a good portion of the existing paving would remain as is, but at the very least, everything that is currently gravel especially that wraps around the back of the building, would be paved, and or if, if we do get to keep the current layout and we don't have to disturb the parking, some of the gravel area could even be revegetated. That's sort of a wait and see how it shakes out with the ZBA before we decide.
Okay.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's quite all right, because, just to roll with the thought process behind it, because if you do end up repaving, you're gonna have to restripe anyway.
Yeah.
I would strongly suggest striping, right? Because I don't believe there's a whole lot of striping.
The striping is very inconsistent, especially on the front where those parking spaces are.
I mean, I parked against the building, but I don't remember if there's striping inside the lower section on the southerly side. Either way, if you can restripe, right? It'll add some clarity, it'll add to curb appeal, pop, right? Those little things matter. Are you open to another curb cut? They're up on the northwest corner. That would certainly help with your flow. Is that something you'd be open to?
Come right up to the mic.
I know it's kind of a,
We have enough space on the backside, so we can open it.
yeah, I mean, it might help with your flow.
It is very easy to in and out, so.
Yeah. Not a requirement. I mean, if you can make it work without, certainly by all means do it, but personally, I would love to have that second curb cut. Even if it's just a turn right only, we've done that with recent projects in town, where you've had a double like your main entrance to go left, and you can turn right as well, but you also have a dedicated, shoot off to the right. Yeah, beyond that, general landscaping, definitely take advantage of it. I mean, not just in the front of the building, do it along the side of the building. And actually, one other thing, to go back to restriping, if there's anything you can do to better align the striping to the entrances in the front, I know that's like a nice to have, not a mandatory, but if you can, maybe to center those to the entrances of the building for your other tenants, that might be nice as well. Beyond that, best of luck to you. Thank you.
I did have one other quick question that I wanted to ask since lighting was brought up. No Connex boxes. No, that's a promise. But I do have a very pressing question about the lighting, specifically in the case of the parking spaces that are on the southernmost edge of the property. I've been very clear about this in the application. It actually hasn't been mentioned yet in this meeting, but those parking spaces are an existing nonconformance. They are in the side yard setback. And I believe, I may be misremembering, but I don't believe parking is allowed in setbacks. I may be incorrect about that.
No, it's not allowed.
It is not.
No, unless you get a waiver for pavement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
You
an
could request a waiver.
Yes. So it's an existing nonconformance. My question is, if we're seeking lighting for the entirety of the site, since it is already that close to the property line, is there any preference from the board for how we would go about lighting that area? And furthermore, since it's not allowed, would we, and as you mentioned, if we were to propose something like that, it would need a waiver. Does it need a waiver if it's an existing nonconformance?
Yes, it would need, because it's a new.
Okay.
I think you would work with staff on that. I think you could place the lighting so it's not spilling over onto the, we would be concerned about it spilling over onto the abutters property.
That can certainly be done. I was mostly just curious if the board has any preference. I know some boards, in the case of a nonconformance like that that's already existing, they are very much so of the mind where, stay away from that. And if you have to do lighting, like, yeah, of course you can make it point the other way. But I've even seen, I think there was an example in Portland, Maine, where they actually said, cut out this parking space and install light poles in this parking space. That used to be accessible. But I agree. With a lighting plan, you can certainly make it so there's no lumen spillover at all onto the other property. And you could even, if necessary, we could add like an additional layer of screening if there's room, which there may not be. But
and if I may, Director, so just given the location of the property, so I work right across the street at OESL Automotive. So I stare at that site from my office, right? I can tell you, Reams is their neighbor, right? They're a 7 to 5 business, so it's not residential. There's no impact on abutters. For me, and this is just my opinion, I would say downlighting shielded, right? That's pretty much
Of course,
standard
yep,
for us.
dark sky friendly.
And I would also say, come a certain hour of the evening, whenever the pool hall closes or the restaurant closes, I'm not sure which business stays open later, that they're on timers. Personally, I would probably be 100% okay with a waiver for that project. Just my opinion.
Okay.
Before we go to Mr. Richardson, if I could just have you introduce yourself, sir, for the record, since you spoke.
Just your name and.
Yeah, Sam Patel.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. Mr. Richardson.
Yeah, I kind of assumed with the drawing that we were looking at here that the striping would be done because it looks so clear. It's obvious on it, but you do have the notation about it not being compliant with the setback and that kind of thing. So I didn't notice that, so thank you for bringing it up. And
Yeah, it's easier for me to bring it up now than have someone be
Yeah.
like, hey, isn't that,
Yeah.
isn't that non-conforming down the line?
The other question I have is where is your solid waste now? Where's your dumpster?
So our So the dumpster is currently located on the far side of the building, opposite the store, the entrances right now. This was brought up at SRTC. It is currently not screened and not on a pad. Trust me, we will be adding that for a later iteration of the plan.
Okay, and similar to the trucks, there's enough, your collection drivers don't have any problem getting to it and that kind of thing?
No problem.
Okay, because oftentimes we see designs and I look at it and there's no way the truck's going to be able to make a turn to get into that dumpster, and so that's why I was asking where it was, so.
Yeah. So they are move around the building and then
Yep.
pick up the dumpster.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm good, thank you.
I just had a couple comments on this. I think adding gas at this point makes perfect sense. I believe you'd be the last one out of Somersworth before you get to Rochester. It would drive a lot of foot traffic into the convenience store. Makes perfect sense. To pile on to the suggestions around landscaping, you would be competing with a large, relatively new Cumberland Farms down the road that's already killed off a couple of smaller independent gas stations. So adding some curb appeal, some pop to the site, not telling you how to run your business, but it might be a good idea. The other thing I would note, where this is on 108, applications with the state for anything involving 108, particularly if you're dealing with curb cuts, have been taking an extended period of time. So probably want to get on those early if you need them. And Mr. Richardson?
Just one more thing, I believe it would be the only one on the northbound side of the road.
Yeah,
I don't
sure.
think there's any other fuel
Yes,
stations on
so
that side.
that was particularly one of the reasons I jumped at this project is this is actually something that was discussed for another town as well, which is, yes, you can say like, okay, well, some towns have limitations on how many gas stations can be within a certain distance and there's competition. Having one on each side of a busy corridor like 108, it actually sees a very good split, regardless of the appeal, just for the convenience of, oh, it's on my side of the road, I'm going to turn into that one. But yes.
Makes perfect sense. Beyond that, what Mr. Berry suggested about potentially a second curb cut up there, if the traffic flows indicate it, might be a very, very good idea. And it's obviously something to work out with city staff, but would probably want to design this for the standard size, even if your current desired supplier would use a smaller one. That way you're not locked in and we're not encumbering the site for the future.
Related to the extra curb cut, by the way, because this actually was an issue with the Berwick project that I had mentioned previously, we actually wanted a second curb cut at more than one point in the project, and it was actually DOT who came through and said, you don't have enough clearance, the speed limit is too high. Does anyone, and we can obviously find out, but does anyone know off the top of their head what the speed limit is on this section of 108? If you...
35.
That sounds favorable, at least. Okay, thank you.
Widely ignored, however, so.
I'm aware. Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right.
That would be a DOT thing. Good luck. Any other comments?
You mentioned that the truck that is going to deliver the gas will go around the building. In the map, there's no like a notes the condition of the ground on the north of the building. Is it like dirt or?
Yeah, so it's pretty loose gravel in the rear of the building, and
there will be like how do you say, like a paint and like.
Yeah, so regardless of where we end up putting the gas, the entire loop around the building has to be paved, brought up to compaction standards, and made to look nice and serviceable. So yes, that would indeed be fixed.
Yeah, that was my concern.
Mr. Barden, if you had something.
Yeah, I just wanted to second Mr. Berry's suggestion of a second curb cut. I was thinking the very same thing. It would definitely facilitate flow and improve safety.
All right. Thank you all. Yeah.
Any other comments or questions? Good luck. Good luck. Thank you very much.
Thank you all very much. Have a wonderful night.
All right, moving forward then, item 4D, 15 Blackwater Road LLC is seeking an extension request of an approved 3-lot minor subdivision, site plan and lot line adjustment for properties at 15 and 17 Blackwater Road. Ms. Mears.
Yes, thanks. The applicant is just requesting a 90-day extension to finalize the New Hampshire DES alteration or terrain permit and finalize the deed language for the transfer of the land. This would allow for the applicant until December 18th of 2025 to meet conditions prior to final approval.
Thank you. Only question that I would ask on this is, do they need more than 90 days? We've seen a lot of these permits taking longer.
I hope not. I think 90.
I got the motion.
Yep.
I'd move that the request of 15 Blackwater Road LLC for a 90-day extension for the approved lot line adjustment, subdivision, and site plan applications for redevelopment of the former National Guard site be approved.
Motion made by Mr. Whittam. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Berry. Any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Any other new business before the board? None this evening? All right. Moving then on to number 5A, workshop business, zoning ordinance amendment, chapter 19, section 21, parking.
Yes, so this is just to update Chapter 19, Section 21, circulation and parking. Currently, we allow for 2 spaces. This has been changed by state statute to allow for 1. So this is just updating it. It's some housekeeping items. And then removing 1921A3 as part of the zoning ordinance. If the planning board supported the proposed zoning changes, it would recommend the changes to city council. And this is a state mandate.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, well, this is a state mandate. I move that the planning board accept the recommended changes and forward it to city council for final action.
Motion made by Mr. Whittam. Do I have a second? Mr. Richardson.
Second.
Okay. Second by Mr. Horton. Discussion from Mr. Richardson.
Number 1, where it says revised from the city director of planning and community development, and then replacing city engineer with the public works, and going from a specific person.
Oh, so that's for the site plan regulations. This one is for the zoning ordinance.
Okay.
So that's the next item on the agenda.
Oh, okay, I'm
Yep,
sorry.
that's all right.
Any other discussion?
I got my pages flipped wrong now.
Okay. All those in favor of the recommendation? Or the motion, rather? Any opposed? All right.
And I'm
Thank you
glad
very
to
much.
sponsor.
Okay, great, thank you.
All right. Item 5B, site plan review regulation updates.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So this has been a long time coming. Staff has been working with SRTC. We've worked with the fire department, the water department, Public Works, Director Bobinski and Amber on this, as well as Dana and the fire department. So this is a complete overhaul of the site plan review regulations update. It's been probably 6 months in the making. There's an overhaul of various sections of the regulations. I'm hoping that we could either have a workshop as a planning board at the next meeting, before the next meeting, or have a subcommittee that just meets to go over this to recommend for a public hearing. I'll go over some of the revisions. We did revise the entire document to go from city planner to director of planning and community development, and replace city engineer with Department of Public Works and Utilities. That is to be consistent throughout the whole entire document, so that it's the department head that reviews that information, and then it can be assigned to staff, is how we wrote it. Revise applicability, revise to projects that are exceptions to the site review requirement. Section 4, Site Review Technical Committee, revisions to the membership of the SRTC and alternates. Section 6, Design Review Phase. This was a new section that was added to outline requirements for design review. We did utilize that process when the pickleball came in, so we notified the abutters in the design review, so that's just codifying that. Section 7 is minor site plan application, revisions to the criteria for projects that fall under minor site plan. Section 8 is formal application procedure for a minor site plan, revisions required for that document. Section 10, formal application procedures for a conditional use permit. Addition of vernal pools to the field delineation and surveyed features required. Criteria established for submission of conditional use permits for the form-based codes and solar. If you guys remember, we do allow conditional use permits for the form-based code to allow the building to be set further back if there's some topography, and then for solar. Section 11, specific for plans and documents to be submitted, revisions to include additional items to be submitted with applications. Evaluation criteria, Section 12, revisions to address special investigations requested by the board. This allows for some more flexibility for the board to investigate, say, if there was a use that came in that they were worried about for environmental concerns. Section 13, design standards and requirements for improvements. The following section was updated. Monuments, utilities, circulation and parking, street, driveways and sidewalks, landscaping design standards, site lighting, environmental park and recreation area, fire protection, water system, sewage system, stormwater regulations, and post-construction stormwater management and third-party review. The following new sections were added: snow storage, solid waste, street addressing, hazardous materials, salt storage, and integrated pest management plans within 600 feet of the form-based code area in the downtown that would be required. Moving forward, Section 14, assurances for completion and maintenance of improvements, revisions to requirements for as-built record submission. Section 15, administration and code enforcement, revisions to the extension requests for plans that have received conditional approval and timeframe to reach active and substantial development. Section 17, construction practices. There's a new section addressing the following stages and items of construction: commencement, blasting, construction equipment, fire access, hours of activity, stump dumps, topsoil requirements, waste materials, and site security. Section 18 is expiration of the planning board approval, new section providing criteria for expiring approved plans and extensions. Section 20 is definitions. We did add some additional terms. And then Exhibit B, update of recommended plantings, tables for trees and shrubs to include more plant species that thrive in urban environments. And, and at this time, we're just looking for feedback from the planning board to move forward on which direction, if we want to have a workshop or a subcommittee to look at this, and then a public hearing would be required.
Sounds good. Would you be looking for a motion or anything like that, or just some discussion?
Just discussion.
I do think the idea of a subcommittee kind of makes sense because you could sit around, dive into it if there were interest. Otherwise, I think it would force our hand into a workshop. So if there was interest in a subcommittee, I think that's where I'd go first.
Mr. Richardson?
Yeah, just a general topic of discussion maybe for a subcommittee, but I think it was last month, maybe the month before that, when it was really the first time I ever asked anybody about recycling and giving their residents the opportunity to recycle. And 10B, it mentions solid waste. I know we don't require recycling in Somersworth. Our residents have pay to throw, which is an incentive to recycle. But why don't we mention it? I'm just curious about that. And you don't have to answer that right now, but as I said, maybe that's a subject for further discussion down the road. But
I think it's something that staff could definitely look into. Some communities do require applicants to address recycling as part of their site plan application. So I'd be happy to research that.
okay, thank you.
Any other discussion from the board? I'd agree with Mr. Whittam that if we have sufficient folks interested in a subcommittee, that would make sense for this otherwise workshop.
Could I recommend that staff send out an email to the planning board members and alternates to solicit interest in the subcommittee, and then could report out at the next meeting whether or not we have enough interest?
That'd be great.
Because there's quite a few people missing tonight.
Okay. Happy to do that.
Thank you. Communications and miscellaneous. Any items there? Mr. Whittam?
Yeah, a couple of things that I probably should have reported under the city council report, and it only occurred to me as we went through the meeting. We had two approvals, site plan approvals that we had some potential council action with regard to roadway improvements. One was the Press Cafe with the traffic signal. That was at least vetted out a little bit at Public Works and Environment Committee. It's a subcommittee of council, and was favorably received there for the traffic signal, absent any details. Obviously, that requires full council action. It hasn't gone to the full council yet. That request has not been made, but at least out of committee was sort of favorably viewed. The other was the notion with the 22 Green Street project of making Fayette one way, and that was favorably reviewed by that council subcommittee as well. So just, it's very preliminary, but at least a flavor there with regard to that. The other item to just flag for staff, we had the site plan approval for those solar panels that pivot and rotate. I forget what they're exactly called. Trackers that were on the site of the self-storage facility on Route 108. During the construction of those, the paved surface for at least one lane, if not two lanes, of the self-storage was removed, and it's now just gravel. I believe that's probably contrary to a site plan approval. So just flag that for code follow-up, if you would. That would be terrific. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Whittam. Any other communications or Ms. Banerjee?
Yes, I just have a few. As Mark Richardson mentioned, the SRPC commissioner vacancy, we are looking for somebody to serve on that. I'm happy to go over what the time commitment is for that. Stratford Regional Planning Commission did send out some information, and I think Mark was happy to speak about that. We did send out the master plan survey. It will be listed on the website, or it is already listed on the website, thanks to Anna, and it will also be listed on social media and in the newsletter, so we're looking for people to fill out that survey. On November 13th, we're holding a forum at the high school. The time is to be determined, but we are looking for members of the public, our planning board members and land use members to attend that, and we will be sending out information about that. Anna did include the 2026 schedule for the planning board meetings, so you guys should have that. And Regional Planning Commission has mentioned that the Governor's Advisory Commission on Intermodal Transportation, the GASSET hearings will be scheduled for fall 2025 for the 10-year plan, 2027 to 2036. For our region, there will be 4 meetings, and they're going to be on October 23rd. One is in Durham at 10 a.m., the other's at Dover at 1 p.m., Rochester at 4 p.m., and then Farmington at 7:30 p.m. We'll send out some additional correspondence about this, but we really need to gather support from Somersworth in particular in regards to the Complete Streets projects on Route 108. So looking for planning board members and members of the public and business owners to come to support that project. The funding has increased for that project, and the timeline has moved out, so it's a bit of a moving target. So Anna will send out some correspondence about that. If you could mark your calendars.
I'll just piggyback on that too. You know, I was a planning commissioner for a few years with Mark, and you know, the planning commission really does a lot for the city of Somersworth and all of Stratford County. But I can't say enough how well and professional their staff is there. For me, you know, it was a commitment on Fridays, but I just couldn't do it with my schedule anymore. But I really did get a lot out of it. You meet folks from all the other different counties, or actually different cities. So folks from Dover, Rochester, all over, and they also give you the opportunity to go to places in each of their other towns and within the county to visit. They show off new businesses or improvements they got going on. And one of the things that the commission does is also really vote on projects within the Stratford County and prioritize them. So it really helps to have that third member on the board to provide that vote and really that voice for Somersworth. So if there's anybody out there, either on this board or in this city, that can step up and volunteer, it would be huge.
Very much. Any other communication, Ms. Lees? Mr. Whittam?
I just want to plant a seed with planning board members. Mr. Richardson mentioned recycling, and it reminded me that we're heading towards a rather significant change with regard to solid waste here in the city. If you haven't heard, we have signed a 7-year contract with Waste Management. We did that last year, so this is year 1, if you will. Contract extension. That was very favorable to the city, not inexpensive, but favorable compared to where it could be. But one of the changes that is heading our way in 2027 is a change in their curbside collection. Waste Management is requiring us by contract to go to a toter system, which is a mechanical arm that comes off the side of the truck and dumps the trash. The difficulty with that is how do we manage that with a paper bag system? That is going to be a challenge. City staff is working on that and wrestling with that. And then of particular note are sizable multifamilies and how that's going to be handled, and would we require them to now have a dumpster and handle their trash on their own, which would require ordinance changes. And obviously that would create all sorts of site plan considerations. So this is just the beginning of a large conversation. Whether or not any planning board action would be required along the way, I'm not sure, because we're not sure yet. But Waste Management actually wanted us to do it starting on July 1 of this year, so it would already be in place. But we said, we got way too much homework to do, ordinances to change, and we got to put some thought into how we're going to handle this, because it could be a significant change to the way we do business. So just be letting that kick around in your heads as we migrate in this direction.
I just want to add to that I made the transition from trash and bags to carts and automated trucks when I worked in Hampton, and it's not an easy thing. The difficulty, and I'll say this out loud, the difficulty with carts is that the driver does not see what's in those carts. The arm goes out, picks it up, and dumps it. You could have TV sets in with your recycling, you could have recycling in with your trash, and nobody knows until it gets in the back of your truck. And that is a real problem. And it gets to the point of your recycling being designated as trash because it's too expensive to sort it out. And I've seen it, I know it happens, and it's really tough.
Looking for a motion then.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Motion made by Mr. Horton, second by Mr. Barry. All in favor? Okay, planning board is adjourned at 8:03 p.m. Thank you very much all.
Extra because I wanted to make sure we weren't